Hey everybody, Dr. D'Angelo Webster here, and I have a great interview ahead of us today with Dr. Alan Stern for our patient communication group. All right, so um, Dr. Alan Stern here. I'm going to let you introduce yourself in just a moment, but great dentist, a lot of experience. He runs a group called Better, Richer, Stronger for Dentists, and he's going to talk to us today about some of the tips and tricks that he's learned in his dental career, focused on communicating with patients. The way that we ended up connecting is he put a comment on one of our threads that said his most important dental instrument is his ears. So we're going to talk about that today. Alan, go ahead and give yourself a little intro.
Angelo, thanks. And it really was a great little whimsical thing that we just went back and forth very quickly, and here we are. And I've read your stuff. I'm following you, and you really get it. And I'm goosebump honored to be hanging out with you, just even for a little bit. This is just the beginning, by the way. I'm warning you. I graduated dental school in 1981. No old man jokes, please, because geezers rule the world.
That's right.
So I've been practicing for 39 years. My 40th dental school reunion is coming up in April. And I'm looking you right in the camera when I'm telling you I am just getting started. I've learned a ton. I've studied a ton. I've made more than my fair share of mistakes that cost me a lot of money. And you know what? The world didn't end. And in fact, the more I focus on who I am, what I do, and who I'm taking care of, the better life gets and the more productive I get. And if I can be so casual in my language, Monday morning doesn't have to suck. Monday morning these 4-day weekends are wonderful. Mm-hmm. Monday doesn't have to be dreadful. On Monday, I surround myself with people that I like and who like me. I take care of people who I like and who like me. So what could be so awful about that? I'm getting paid to do stuff that I like for people who I like. So I've studied at the Pankey Institute. I've studied sleep with Jeff Rouse and Jim Metz. I've studied leadership with two of the most amazing people in dentistry, Mary Osborne and Joan Unterschutz. I've studied gold with the great Warren Johnson, learned how to be a good gold operator with him and his Tucker Study Club. So is my life perfect? No. Is my dentistry perfect? It's just as imperfect as everybody else, but it's fairly good. And the thing that if you want to be crass and call it unique selling point, but what distinguishes me is my ability to listen, connect, and empathize. Because you know what, D'Angelo? I know you're a pretty darn good dentist. And I also know that you are a master of communication. You've got to have both of those elements if you're going to have a good practice.
Yeah,
So,
that's something that I was commenting in the thread. Like, there's a lot of great dentists out there that I know, and I'm sure that you know too. Great dentists who never, who I won't say never, but have many missed opportunities to provide their care with patients. Because, like I said in the thread, at best sometimes they come off as awkward in their communication to the patient, and sometimes at worst they come off as insensitive, and the patient's gone. So with your experience, I mean, something you commented on, and I commented on, was that for some dentists, young dentists, this communication thing comes naturally, it comes easy. For some of them, not so much. So talk about that journey if you can, developing into someone who can communicate well with their patients.
so when we get out of dental school, we have all this knowledge, right? And it's really level 101 knowledge, but we've got all these words. And we have all these techniques to do amalgams, composites, implants, and so on and so forth. We got that. But where we lose it is we don't explain it to another human being in a way that they understand. People are not going to buy something from you unless they're connected and unless they get it just like you do. So we have to bring themselves to their level. One of the things you really can do, if you have a consultation room in your office, use it. If you have a private office, use it and sit down and listen to them. How can I help you? If I had a magic wand to wave over your mouth, what would that look like? What would you want? Understand where these people are at. You can draw that out of anybody. Everybody has friends. Everybody has relatives, right? There are people in our lives who are special to us. And those people, we know how to look right in the camera and ask them, hey, D'Angelo, how you doing today, brother?
Mm-hmm.
We can do that with patients. We don't even call them patients in our office anymore, by the way. I'll use the word patients for ease of communication. Right. But they're people who come to us for care. They're people or they're friends. I look at them interchangeably in those ways. Treat them like they're your friends. Treat them like you're scared, like they're scared. One of the worst medical experiences I ever had, D'Angelo, many years ago, I was doing dentistry in the OR.
Mm-hmm.
Doubled over in pain in my belly. I doubled over with belly cramps in the middle of a procedure in the OR. And I was scared. I was 30-something years old.
Yeah, what happened?
Out of my wits. And I remember my wife and I had planned a Vegas vacation a week after. And that Friday, before the Saturday flight, I had to go to a radiologist and get a study of my abdomen to make sure nothing was going on. I'm sitting in a waiting room, in this huge, vast waiting room, and the attendant comes out, and there were two people in that room, D'Angelo, a lady and me. And the woman looks out, and just like this, with this vast look, Alan Stern, come on. A man or a woman, who could be Alan Stern? And I'm shaking. And the doctor came in and just basically zipped me through, and they wouldn't release their records to me. They wouldn't tell me what was wrong. They'd only talk to my doctor.
Mm-hmm.
How is that? Why do people treat other people that way? Are we that important? Or are we here to serve somebody? Are we here to take care of somebody who's laying out in a vulnerable position and opening up their mouths, having us put a drill, a bit, water, and junk in our mouths while we lie there helpless, and then they attack another sensitive part of our body, our wallets. So, yeah, the mouth is every bit as sensitive as the wallet, isn't it?
I like that.
It's critical. It's critical. We got to step back from this. We got to step back from these procedures, all this great stuff we know how to do, mm-hmm. because we're doing it, D'Angelo, for a person, not a patient, not an insurance policy, not a code. There's a human being on the other end of those tools. And the only way we can figure it out is use this diagnostic high-tech CBCT, which is encased with this, mm-hmm. and has what's left of this in my brain. So step back. Step back, I would tell every young dentist out there. And if you're not the best smiler in the world, if you're not the best communicator in the world, do the best you can. Be yourself. Be a little vulnerable.
So when you're doing like your initial meet and greet with a patient, do you have like a routine that you'll get into, or like some things that you repeat again time after time to be able to better get in the head of a new patient, to figure out who they are and what they're looking for, and what would those recurring themes be?
Well, the other thing is, by the way, to the docs, I have a hygienist who's been with me for 12 and a half years. She knows exactly what to say. Mm-hmm. But the first thing I'll do is I'll introduce myself as Alan Stern. I take the doctor title away, and I sit down with them at eye level. Whether if their first appointment's in hygiene, I sit down at a chair and face them. Preferably, I'd like to have them in my office first. Mm-hmm. With COVID, I'll do it like this on a HIPAA compliant platform. Mm-hmm. But I'll tell me about yourself. Mr. Webster, welcome to I'm Alan Stern. Great to meet you. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Tell me about your family. What do you do for a living? How's your health? And how's your teeth? And I use the magic wand question a lot. And I'm just here for cleaning. That's great, Mr. Webster. I'm delighted. And how'd you do with Jess, our hygienist? Oh, she's great. She's awesome. That's great. Any areas you're unhappy with? Are there any areas you'd like to see improved? And then I'll go through some of the clinical things. And maybe sometimes I'll find excessive wear. Maybe I'll find wear on the anterior teeth and not on the posterior. Maybe I'll find a constricted airway.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'll find some joint issues, some limited opening. My hygienist will at this point have found periodontal issues that may be painless. So we'll talk to them about that. And I'll use photography. I'm sure you do this in your office, D'Angelo. Yeah. You could do it. I have a Nikon digital camera in the office that I'll use. You can use a simple intraoral camera for simple things. People learn by looking. People learn by visualizing. I can describe to you all you want, Mr. Webster, that the distal buccal cusp of your tooth number 15 upper second molar has a crack in it and it's about to break, but to show it to you on a picture, I don't know.
So would you say that's your go-to technique for if you have a patient that has a conflicting belief to what, like, maybe the reality of the situation is? So let's say, how's your health? How are your teeth? And they say, oh, my teeth are fine, great, no problems. And you look in there and that's not the case. They've got a bunch of cavities, they've got perio. Now you have a conflicting belief. They believe they're fine, but you, with your dental knowledge, know that their teeth are not healthy. So can you talk about kind of that clash of having that conflicting belief?
Excellent. There's a concept that I learned from a book called Walking Through Anger by Dr. Christian Conti. Mm-hmm. Yeah, do write that down. Have you heard of Christian Conti?
No.
Oh, man. He is
added to the library.
Yeah, I see that. Mine is over there. We're going to be the computer.
Yeah.
There, but Christian Conti's Walking Through Anger. He talks about, and Conti is a prison psychologist. Mm-hmm. He talks to the baddest people in the United States and their prison guards. And Conti outlines this principle called getting on the same side of the box and pushing rather than getting into a tug of war. So the truth is, D'Angelo, nobody wants to be unhealthy. Everybody wants to be healthy. Mm-hmm. It doesn't hurt, Doc. Okay, but here's the picture, Mr. Webster. Here's what we have. What do you think? What's that dark shadow in there, Doc? That's decay, Mr. Webster. Oh, how come it doesn't hurt? And I'll use a cancer analogy. Mm-hmm. And I'll say, God forbid, a woman has a little lump or a man has a little bump in a sensitive area that doesn't hurt. Would we sit by and neglect it until it hurts? The same thing happens, and that's how people get in dental trouble. Mm-hmm. What do you think, Mr. Webster? And then I'll open it up, let them talk. And sometimes
I want to pause you right there because I think what you just said is something that a lot of dentists would not even pause to do, but just to the patient say, what do you think? And then hear what they think, because we like to lecture and tell them what we think and what we know and what the plan is. But you said, what do you think? And then let them talk.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And they'll sometimes say, Mr. Webster, what do you think? He said, it doesn't hurt. And my 3 magic words, tell me more. And sometimes it'll come out. People older than you, but younger than me, may have had bad experiences as a child at the dentist.
For sure.
Now, pediatric dentistry was not as explosive as it's been in the last 20, 25 years. Mm-hmm. So children may have had really crappy experiences at the dentist, or even adults, and they may not want to be heard. Tell me more. Help me understand. So then you can get on the same side of that box and advocate for their health. Mm-hmm. Gums are bleeding, Doc, but they don't hurt. Tell me more. Well, I don't want to do nothing if there's no pain. Well, Mr. Webster, if the palm of my hand was open and oozing blood, would you tell me to do something about it? Sure, Doc, of course. Well, your gums have a surface area that's the size of the palm of your hand, Mr. Webster. and they're oozing. And then I could go into the whole oral systemic thing.
Mm-hmm.
And even then, they may tell you to buzz off in the famous 4 words, I'll think about it. And what you really need to do, don't set up a confrontation.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to win an argument here. You want to try and set yourself up as an advocate for another human being.
Right.
Mr. Webster, when you're ready, let me know, because there's really some things we can do here that'll turn your health around.
Yeah.
And we know that disease is linked to X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, and I often search for a way to handle, like, let's say they give you their response, like, I'll think about it. They've turned you down. Okay.
Yeah.
A lot of dentists, either they'll keep pushing and it's not working, or they'll take the my way or the highway approach. Like, well, call me when your tooth breaks off, and I'm not going to come in when it hurts at 2 a.m. type of approach. Which I've never been a fan of that. So what is your method of communication short of the my way or the highway? Get out of my office if you don't believe you have perio, because I told you you do.
Mr. Webster, we're adults, and you have the privilege of making decisions for yourself, because you know what? It's your life and your body. It's not mine. And nobody knows you as well as I do. If after all this, you really want to hold back, that's fine. That's fine. I'll be here for you. But I tell you something, in my 39 years, things happen on Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve, Easter Sunday, or the day before a wedding or a trip. I'll do the best I can. I'll always be here for you. If you feel a twinge when you're biting, that tooth's going to break, you want to call me, call me. I'm here for you. And that's the best I can do. Okay. D'Angelo, if you get into a power struggle with another human being, which is essentially what you described, there's going to be a winner and there's going to be a loser. If you, Mr. Webster, are my patient, and you lose the argument, how are you going to feel walking out?
Not good. I might not come back.
Right. You're going to feel resentful. You're going to feel that I tried to shame you. You're not going to feel that I tried to accept you. I accept, Mr. Webster, that you can live with those bleedy gums, even though they're going to bite you in the rear end at some point. I accept you because you're a nice gentleman. You have a wife, you have children, you have a father, you have a mother, you have friends, you're loved. What could be bad about you? You may not be the right fit for my office, and we may reach that point, but until you prove that you're not, I'm your advocate.
I like it. What role does storytelling play in your treatment presentation? Because I feel like it does, because you've already told me several stories effort to explain things. How does storytelling play a role in your patient communication?
It's imperative. And I tell the story about, God forbid, cancer. I tell the story about how a urologist tried to bully me into getting a needless biopsy. And that's not why I'm here, Mr. Patient. I'll tell the story about the Easter Sunday where somebody came to my house. I'll tell the story about the pain that people avoided, or the smile that was rehabilitated, or the all-on-4 that the patient who took 3 years to get into my office because she was so scared. And we finally got to do an all-on-4 just in time for her to renew her wedding vows with her husband of 25 years. We'll tell the story about the woman in the wheelchair who all she wanted with mottled enamel, destroyed enamel. We put 6 anterior crowns there, and she called her husband into the room. And she said, can we just go driving around so I could smile at people? And tell those stories all the time. It's not a matter, you can take a carrot approach, you can take a stick approach. And you and I both know, and every listener knows, that dentistry has a lot of good stuff in it for people. But gone are the days of the authoritarian model, where unfortunately some of us here in dental school, you better do it this way or else. That doesn't work. anymore. It doesn't work.
And I think even now with the like dental school education, that's still a lot of what it is. And it might, I thought about that, and I feel like a lot of times in dental school, the barrier of price is gone, because with the dental school patient demographic where you're getting your education, either it's very cheap compared to real world dentistry, or dental schools largely will serve a Medicaid population where price is not on the table. So if it's a Medicaid population in the dental school, they come in, the student's job is to diagnose everything that's there, then the faculty comes in with the authority and says, yes, that's what you need to do, and it's free, so you do it. So that whole layer of, yeah, but it costs $700 and Christmas is coming up, that's all gone. So a lot of us don't learn it. And that has big ramifications, in our careers.
Well, we can play with it. In dental school, we can play with some things. I'm not telling you to extend your cavity preparations 7 years into the dent and expose the pulp to play with root canal. I'm not telling you to do that. But what I am telling you, and I did this, I was coaching a prosthodontic grad student, and he was getting the nastiest, most resistant patients. He was low man on the totem pole, so he was getting them all. And what you could do is just try to draw these people out. How are you, Mrs. Jones? How are you feeling today? I'm scared, Dr. Webster. I know I got to do this, but I'm scared. Relax, Mrs. Jones. Let me see if I can help you. Take a few deep breaths. I'm here to take care of you. Express some empathy. Oh my God, you're working, you're living paycheck to paycheck. You're barely making ends meet. I don't know what that's like, Mrs. Jones, but I'm going to try to listen to you. Take a minute. Take a minute. I have a sick child. Oh my God, there's nothing worse than that. I'm so sorry. Let me see if I can get you out of here quickly so you get to your daughter. Little statements of empathy go so far in connecting other human beings. And remember, when Medicaid or no Medicaid, Medicaid or AACD, they're coming to you and they are vulnerable. They are depending on you, hopefully trusting you, to put those awful instruments in their mouth and give them something. The only way they're going to trust you is if they have you here and they have you here. Lead with love. Lead with love. You'll never go wrong.
So on the topic of stories, you're obviously really passionate about the communication end of patient care. And I find that usually when someone's really passionate about something, and there's a story behind that. So what is your story that brought you to the point of being someone who's very passionate about the communication end of patient care?
Wow. Now you're digging into me. D'Angelo, I told you before that I made every mistake in the book. And I took advice that was not necessarily congruent with who I am. And it led me down a financial and practice wormhole. And it was only when I had to alter my lifestyle and get money out of my life that I discovered who I really am. And when I got that financial 800-pound gorilla out of my room, and I realized that what makes me happiest is the connection with another human being. And when we have a sign in our office, enter as strangers, leave as friends. That's the first thing they see when they walk in. That's who I am. That's what I love. I love it when I get, well, it's COVID. I don't get any hugs anymore. But, I get the...
Yeah, you get the elbow bump.
And, of course, I do the COVID high five, which is slapping at the air in the direction of another person's hand. When I say something that connects with them, when they have that, aha, you really care about me. Yeah. When I get the thank you and I get the love right back. So hitting hitting, I wouldn't call it rock bottom, but hitting a tipping point, a turning point in my career. And it didn't happen that long ago. It happened in my 50s.
Mm-hmm.
And I was liberated, and I could be myself,
Mm-hmm.
which is different than you, different than anybody else. Then I became really passionate about what I do, how I do it, and who is at my side and who is in my chair. Because you know what? We're niche marketed, whether we like it or not.
Yeah.
The world changed. You can't hang your shingle out, D'Angelo Webster, DDS, world's greatest dentist, and expect people to break your doors down. We have to figure out who we are, what we get satisfaction out of, and who is our ideal patient, and what are the things that we love to do. And that kindles the flame, that ignites the passion, that lets you do whatever it is you want to do with it. There's so many choices in dentistry. But my story is that I was humbled,
Mm-hmm.
kicked in the rear end, and what I dusted myself off and said, hey, this doesn't have to happen.
Was that like the thing that kicked you in your rear end? Like something happened in the business world, in the personal life?
Oh, my personal life is wonderful.
It's great. So it's just like a difficult time with the practice, or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was living paycheck to paycheck in my 50s. And that made Monday morning suck.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I bought in, and really I harbor no ill will toward anybody.
Yeah.
Decisions were mine. I made the decisions trying to better myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I bettered myself in just a different way.
Mm-hmm.
And there are no mistakes. I live in New Jersey, D'Angelo.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of F words here.
Yeah.
F word that is absolutely forbidden is failure.
Yeah.
Other F words are totally permissible. But failure, they're lessons. And I see in dentists, a disgruntled patient leaves the office. Oh my God, I took an x-ray and the margin on the crown doesn't cover the shoulder totally. Oh my God, what's going to happen? Or there's an overhang. Oh, those are not failures.
Mm-hmm.
Those are lessons. How can I do it better next time? It's all it is. It's nothing more than that. Because for every procedure or everything that's gone sideways, there are 1,000 that have gone just right.
Right.
And you're there the next morning to do it again. So when you get kicked around, I'm a Yankee fan. So Derek Jeter and Aaron Judge struck out a lot. Michael Jordan missed a lot of buckets, didn't he? So what?
Right.
So what? So find what you love and lead with love. That's a phrase I learned at Speaking Consulting Network a couple of years ago. Mm-hmm. From a guy named Todd Williams, who is a public relations gentleman. He was at the Four Seasons Hotels. Now he's with a major healthcare firm in California.
Mm-hmm.
Being good's not good enough. Lead with love. Care about the person. And that epiphany in my life occurred after I got beat up.
I like it.
Grateful for it.
Well, Alan, I like to keep these right around 30 minutes.
Sure.
And we're coming up on that, and I think that's a beautiful way to end our session here. So I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you for your contributions to the patient communication group. And I know that this is an interview I'm going to go back and listen to several times. And I thank you for sharing your wisdom and experience with our group.
May I invite everybody to come over to Better, Richer, Stronger?
Yep. Go ahead.
We're very, very aligned in our philosophy. And every week I have interviews a couple of times a month. I've got some very interesting content on there. So I would invite your guests to come over and hang out with me whenever they want.
Absolutely. The more we can all share and learn, the better.
Absolutely. We're
all right.
Together.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.